good time. And so let's watch this particular around the verse here. I'm pretty interested in what the top. I'm not sure what the topic is today, but let's see what's in store for us as we continue to watch. And I'm very curious here. Okay, that is pretty sexy. I always like when they started with the eye candy on the ATVs, like real good up close eye candy. Now we can't be too fooled by the eye candy. We can't, you know, OCS is coming out, and we've got things that are now going to make gameplay more stable. So I'm happy about that. So I will try not to drool on myself with the eye candy. Nice.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Around the Verse. I'm Sean Tracy.
Turn this down a little
And
bit,
I'm Chris
guys.
Roberts.
This week, we'll take a look at some of the behind-the-scenes work that went into the mission playthrough we saw at CitizenCon. But first, let's see what's new in our player community.
Thanks, Mosquito.
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago, Synchronizers put together a large-scale meetup event. They rallied their org mates
And thanks for being here,
a
Mosquito.
cooperative in-game adventure.
Oh, that's
Always
pretty cool.
to see so many ships like that working in unison, I think.
Yeah, no, it's totally cool. I mean,
It's got to be even cooler once server meshing gets completed. I mean, like the server meshing is what the thing that I think we're all worried about is making sure that everybody can play in the same instance so that these larger ships can actually exist. And so we can have these like awesome space battles together with your org mates or with friends. And it's really important. That is one thing on their core tech list that they have to do still. So let's see exactly if that gets done anytime within the next year. I'd imagine that would be something big on the list, as that's something very vital that needs to happen so that the game can continue forward.
And there's usually some group posting some
footage.
cool shenanigans, and then we all share it over our internal chats and say, wow.
Yeah,
We'll talk about that, Bob.
When you
We'll talk about that soon, dude.
play with them, so
Totally agreed.
cool.
So also, on the community front, many of you who attended CitizenCon got the chance to sit on a life-size dragonfly.
Bob.
I did. I sat on a life-size dragonfly and had a picture taken, but it was definitely a unique photo op. A lot
was
of
cool.
you got pretty creative.
That was cool that they built the look at this guy, dude. Look at this guy. So Bob's talking about the pricing on pretty much we're talking about the economy on DaGaimez. The past week and a half has been nothing but economy. I feel like I'm the CNBC of Star Citizen lately. And I will continue to talk about the economy and important matters to industrialists, because I think that should be something that's talked about, that's not talked about enough. And I know sometimes the economy talk can kind of be like, but when it comes down to it, it's very important to good gameplay, and it's very important to kind of keep checks and balances on SIG, inflating prices and making sure that we have some type of control, which makes the game fun for a lot of the industrialists. So Bob, I might get into a little bit of that after the ATV here.
with your poses. We've posted all the dragonfly photos on our website, so make sure to check them out.
Not all of them. I mean, I got one with Steve Bender. I've got one with...
Okay.
So they're not all...
Well, we won't talk about
anyways,
those.
we go on.
It's not safe for work.
It's true. Now, on to development. Hopefully by now you've all had a chance to watch the mission playthrough that was the corner piece of our opening keynote at CitizenCon.
Yeah, so the mission highlighted the up-and-coming planet Hurston, its main landing zone Lorville, and some new systems and mechanics debuting with Alpha 3.3.
A lot of teams contributed to this mission and its various moving parts. So here's Luke Presley, Gareth Bourne, Ben Curtis, and Brad Adams to shed some more light on the inspiration and design behind the mission.
Yeah, I'm actually looking excited to going to new places. I know a lot of people think it is not that integral to the design. Like right now, they don't need to focus on new places, but I happen to think that like new places bring new players, and that's really important for the game itself as far as the success of the game. The PTU is amazingly fun. OCS actually makes playing the game fun. It keeps it stable. I like it a lot, and I will say this, that I think that was a huge hurdle for SIG to hop over. I'm not quite sure moving forward how OCS is going to operate with additional assets being loaded into the game, and how that will affect loading times and if that will bring down frame rates once again. But I'm just happy now that initially that they have the OCS pretty much streamlined to the point where the people in the PTU are having a good, fun time playing the game. Amen. Kudos to Sig on that. Let's hear it. Let's get a round of applause for that, because that was a big deal. Like, that was a big deal. I know I'm talking a lot about the economy right now, and some people are saying, oh, man, you're just a naysayer to games. Everything you say is so negative, blah, 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 blah. That's just like the big guys putting a label on me to make me look like a big douche. That's not the truth. Like, if you watch a lot of my videos, I'm very passionate about Star Citizen, and I want the game to be a success. And I think it's really important, the economy, for industrial players. But besides the economy right now, the OCS is a huge hurdle that they've actually jumped over, and they have pretty much done it in a fashion that was much faster than I initially thought it was going to be. Much, much faster. Economy is important, and nobody does seem to care, Bob, and I absolutely agree with you. But if you look at the comments of my videos, though, you will see others that do care, and I think it's very important that we rile these people up, that we get their voices out there, and I think it's very, 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 very important. And if you're going to spell my name in a video, Bob, make sure you do it right. I got a crazy I and a Z in there. Thank you, though.
The mission you saw at CitizenCon is just one of the new missions you'll find on Hurston.
We had a really big list of locations when Hurston started to think about the lore involved and how the family doesn't care a whit about the planet whatsoever.
They pollute it, and they even bombard it from space to just.
Oh wow! I wonder if the Star Citizen elitists live on this planet.
Weapons. That was one of the things that me and
it does, Bob.
Very keen on showing. And if you just imagine the gameplay,
I love the look and the feel.
Like
I love the look and the feel, you know,
and ground level action. This gave us the idea that one of these.
What's going on, Damon? Welcome to the stream, bro.
And fall from orbit,
welcome to the ATV review.
Some kind of nefarious action.
So what we ended up with was the relay, due to it being this big piece of technology that would really heavily juxtapose the savannah, and then it would just look really cool.
That's freaking amazing.
The down relay was quite a large undertaking from the props team this year. Yeah, we really
I don't, Damon, but it would be cool if they put it in there.
Come out of space. What started out as quite a small communications buoy that we already an existing asset, and we were just planning on making like a crashed version of it. We really wanted to expand the scale of the asset. The designers had a few kind of key gameplay mechanics that they wanted to introduce. And
now, what I would like while they're talking about this is a particular event on a planet that they're talking about. You know what would be cool, though, is the damage that they are talking about in the game is if we were able to actually, like, I wouldn't want to do it, but if we were able to, like, crash into the planet, there was something wrong with the ship and it malfunctioned, and your ship came down and it actually crashed and it looked like this. I think that's something that would be, like, super amazing if they could actually accomplish, you know, different types of damage. I know they were talking on about a year and a half ago about a lot of the damage that happens to ships, and I'm hoping that includes damage like this, when like impact damage, and the physics of it actually coming into play. Be very, very cool.
You need to kind of back that up with the art.
We really wanted it to look great as well as play great. So the whole idea of the demo was making something that the end user could actually play. So the main challenge was making the climbing section not look too contrived.
So a lot of time was spent in making the visual damage read well. Things like the fins kind of bending forward. We wanted the kind of like the scorch marks and the burn marks and like the really damaged kind of panels.
Because we tried things like fallen over solar panels that you could walk up and all of that kind of stuff. And it was always like, oh, isn't that convenient that that fell that way? So we thought about, the rear section had a lot of structure, and we thought about bending and breaking that and making that look a little bit more organic than simply, oh, it fell over that way, so you can climb up it that way. Isn't that very useful?
This obviously helped with making the puzzles in it more believable. One of the kind of key areas was the jumping puzzle. There was a bit of iteration to kind of make it fun from a gameplay point of view, but also from the art point of view. Once the player had made their way up onto the main neck, we wanted to make sure that it was really clear to the player where they needed to go.
So he put a large sign with a blinking arrow. No.
Okay, let's try to make this jump. It's like old school platform game here. All right, we're gonna do it, Glenn. All right, we're gonna get a good run up.
Didn't the guy fall? Yeah, he fell and he hurt himself. We were watching this, actually. We had a stream. We had a CitizenCon stream here on DaGaimez, and we were laughing our asses off when this happened.
You got it.
Oh, was it staged, huh? Oh, I get it. I get it. That was funny. That was funny, dude. Oh, God. Oh, God. Sorry. Ah, let's watch it like this.
The beauty of our game is it's so transparent to the public. With us having something live,
Let's watch it like this.
So accidents can happen. Many pens can be forgotten. Deaths can be...
Hey, Canuck. What's up, dude? Welcome to the stream, man. What's up, Ryder?
I don't know what to say. Sorry.
After you kind of made your way up to
Bob just made a funny in the chat.
Blades, that was the item that you picked up and kind of interacted with and inspected to progress the mission on. So we took one of the computers, ship items, and yeah, that's the thing that actually kind of pops up and comes out the top of the nose. But the computer blades was something we hadn't actually tackled from an art side yet. And you know, as these are the things that we've got the tech where we can pick up and kind of inspect them now, we wanted to, you know, we spent a bit of extra time.
That's pretty swaggerific right
As you can
there.
see here, like we've actually got a helper set up for the actual prop. What we actually do is set these helpers so that the prop actually aligns to the hand. So there's a bit of difficulties trying to get it fit in the actual camera view for the player, because this is what actually the player sees. Sort of first looked at the biggest size that we have for the square type props, and this is what you call like the max pose. And then this
Hey
would be,
Darth,
like,
welcome to the
min pose,
stream,
so,
bro.
like, maybe holding a piece of paper or something. And what this allows us to do is then blend between the max and the min pose. So asset-wise, we only have 2 assets really just for this sort of system. So then once we jump in game, you can then see the helpers are actually aligning where the prop is in the hand. But at the moment you can see the grips don't actually conform to the object. So this is actually used in the current max pose that we have. So if I dial down the grips, you can then sort of see this is like a blend between the max and the min pose. And again, you can see it's not fully conforming yet. So if I then dial it down a bit more, you can start to see it coming a bit closer to the min pose. If I go down to about 0.4, you can start to see the grips that we use in the actual demo. So this would be a value that we then set specific to that prop. So that grip doesn't get used for any other prop other than this server blade. There's some mission side of things. There's various sort of elements that are on these props that might help you in the mission that you're in. So
Could you imagine designing all of the movements needed for every single asset? This guy, I'm surprised all of his hair is still on his head. He should be as bald as I am right now with the amount of like attention to detail that Chris is demanding of the game. Kudos to the design team. I just wonder if like every single asset necessarily needs that kind of detail to it. If they could do it in a timely manner, which I think is what they're trying to explain here, I think that would be absolutely fantastic. I'm not gonna like, I just think that if it takes a lot of time for them to do all of this, that I think that this should be something that is like a tertiary or secondary type thing, you know?
As you saw in the demo that you wanted to look for the prototype.
Mosquito.
And this is what the inspecting allows you to do. And also,
hey Matt, welcome to the stream, dude.
To sort of investigate props, actually look at them closer, and maybe there's some hidden things on different props, or it just allows you to investigate.
So it wasn't just making a random piece of tech that comes out of a panel on a mission. It was actually, this is progressing, well, it's giving us an understanding of what we want to deliver across the game and not just this one mission.
Apologies. The air is especially dreadful today. Still alive.
This guy looks like my grandpa
What can I do
when he
for
was
you on
alive.
this fine day?
Kind of freaky.
Give us an invite about work. Let's ask about that.
I feel like this is what I'm going to look like when I'm older. I feel like this is the dude I'm going to look like, unfortunately for me.
Okay, there's a satellite that's fallen from orbit, and it has a prototype blade in it we want to check out. Yeah, let's do it.
In the demo itself, we had it that the blade had been stolen by the scavengers, but it's kind of...
They're pretty much going over the mission specs that happen at CitizenCon right now, Darth. I saw what you asked me, bud.
During the actual wreckage itself. So you might find it in a large chunk of debris kilometers away once you found the main transponder of the relay. Or you might find that the scavengers have taken it to a stash house instead of the underground facility. All of these kind of things that really bring variance and excitement to the mission so that you can play it more than one time and it'll guaranteed be different.
Now, I'm happy they're doing a lot of like mission-based type of like design, and obviously Chris is hugely focused on missioning and having like these trees in which like there's this dedicated you know, these tangents that like if you choose this, then this is what happens. There's all these different mission arcs involved. But I also think that there should be a lot of like this type of thing can happen with player and player interaction. Like somebody can actually have you do something that's very player oriented, that is not a mission that is pre-scripted by SIG. For instance, if you're an organization like the Plexus Syndicate here, I will give you guys particular missions that are important for our organization. And those missions, I feel like, have a lot more weight to them. Like they are significantly, they mean more, and they probably will pay better as well. And I think that's something that needs to be talked about. You don't see a lot of people looking at this as this is going to be like the emergent type of gameplay in the game, as long as that there is some type of stable economy, which people feel like that the economy matters in tandem, and me being able to pay you directly through the Moby Glass, just like boop boop, there's your funds, thank you for doing the work for the Plexus Syndicate type thing. Mosquito says, interesting, how are they managing to avoid the elephant in the room? It's not like the discussion about ship prices is on fire right now. Oh my goodness, yeah, like ship prices are on fire right now. I've got a video about that. I'm going to put this in the YouTube video. I'll put a link up there so you guys can check that out, or maybe in the description below. On the last video is just going it's going pretty bonkers, man. It's great. It's great to see the discussion happening, and the economy is definitely finally on the stage right now being talked about. I think that needs to really be talked about, and I will talk about it. I will talk about it after this, but first the ATV review.
But the challenge for us was, how do we then, if it's missing, let the player find it. Like, so we settled upon the idea that this is kind of like the chip in your phone, the GPS chip in your phone. When it's powered up, like if it's taken away from the satellites can still kind of know where it thinks it is. So that then shows up on like the tracker again. So that's how we got around that, and it meant that you had to go like into the thing then, so we were able to build out the innards of the satellite as well.
The interior of the Assett was one of those things that we really wanted, that kind of excitement when you kind of go down into the neck and you can kind of get that really kind of atmospheric feeling of the kind of like the whole thing's crashed onto the planet's surface.
It's okay, guys. Go ahead and talk about it. It's good. You guys go ahead and talk about it in the chat. I'll join the chat in a little bit. Go ahead.
In the future,
I'm not worried about
it. Kind of uncrashed version. One of the actual things that we did very early on is we made the complete version first, so that then it made our lives a little bit easier when we were making the damaged version, but it also means that we've got that to kind of now finish off, take to final art, and then hopefully we'll be seeing that around the game soon.
Yeah, it was really nice to hear from the guys actually working directly on the mission. I'm sure for them this year was a lot better and easier, I think, better for the players to work on an actual mission that was about to ship, that's not a year away, but more a few weeks away from the community, and it's actually content that's going in the game. It's not just for that.
Yeah, well, I think that was, in fact, you, Sean, were one of the people that was really pushing for this when we were discussing what we were going to do to show off Hurston, and we were sort of deciding, is it a tech reveal or is it more like, okay, this is gameplay you're going to get, and we were like, okay, the game's becoming more mature. The idea was like, yes, we can go and put a specifically scripted mission together, but let's build it right. Let's build the starting module that would be this mission template that you could have in different locations with different outcomes. And I think it was really good for the team to focus on game mechanics. And then I think the other thing that we wanted to do was sort of start to work in some of the interaction, the player interaction system that we're working on. So, you know, taking the blade out, inspecting it. You can do the same with all items you have. That will also be the way you'll be able to put attachments on or change stuff out on either weapons or, you know, look, you pick up an item and it's not working. Maybe you turn it over. There's a door on the back. You open
Chris
the door.
likes to talk, Bob.
Dead battery. Take the dead battery out, put a new battery in. Bam! It starts working again. So there's a whole bunch of gameplay that.
Well, what Chris is talking about is he did want to show off more of the game mechanics in Citizen Con. The problem is that when we were watching Citizen Con is the technical difficulties that happened at the very beginning of the show. And, you know, these are things that need to be addressed. They need to rehearse Citizen Con so that, like, from the start, we don't have this, like, every time we go into Citizen Con, we're expecting something to fail from the beginning. There needs to be no failures. It needs to be rehearsed, regardless of the game mechanics. The one thing that he's not talking about with the game mechanics is I was not happy with the artificial intelligence in so far as how these NPCs were reacting to combat situations. The NPCs, if you guys watch the Citizen Con here on DaGaimez with all of our fans here, we watched Citizen Con. It was a really good time. And that's something that we said during Citizen Con is that the NPC did not react that great, you know, and there was something to the effect of where Chris was saying, oh, no, that's fine. Oh, it'll be flushed out. And in terms of that, but like, I was not impressed with the actual AI in terms of the combat situations that I was seeing. So those types of mechanics need a lot of work in the game. But I was impressed with the many different types of, like, we're talking about in the missions, like how he's talking about the ability, like the grabby hands. A long time ago, this technology was called grabby hands. I did an episode on this about a year ago, or a year and a half, or maybe even 2 years ago. They were talking about grabby hands technology, which I thought was like the most pervy kind of creepy name for tech out there, but it was funny and it stuck with you. Aha! No, sorry, that was bad. But like what they were saying is like how difficult it is to make it look realistic for your character to grab different types of assets, and they're really doing a good job at that. So I will give them praise for that. Because
of the item port system and the interaction system that we're building.
And I mean, you know, some people, you know, I'm sure were like, oh, why are they bothering drinking coffee? Why are they bothering doing all these interaction things? But it's all about this world being a lot more tactile. And it seems so simple that, okay, you'll just press a button and you interact with the thing and you're just holding it perfectly. Well, we go as far as, you know, all the different grips that we have to have, whether it's two-handed, whether it's one-handed. There's so many different sort of subtleties within that. So it's good still to do.
Yeah, I agree, Darth. I agree, Darth.
You know, the bar drink.
Well, yeah, I mean, the whole goal is to make the game very, I mean, it's a first-person universe, and we want you to be tactile, and we want not just it be about flying a ship or be about shooting something. So we want to have a tool set where people can put things and use things together and do really cool stuff with it. And so that was one of the things that we're showing off with the mission. I hopefully you guys liked it. I mean, it was kind of fun.
It was a pretty fun mission. It had its hiccups, but all in all, it was an interesting mission. The thing is like, you know, how long is it taking from start to finish to create these particular types of missions? Let's look at that as a time issue, and let's see how long it takes and how many people does it take to make like a complete kind of mission arc. I'd imagine quite a bit of time. And these things can also happen naturally, or should happen naturally, and that's something that should be talked about within the community. Is that this shouldn't also just be like just a mission type thing, but this should actually happen on a player kind of experience as well.
To these systems, the more creative they will become with them. So like, you know, at first you set up a system to grab the coffee cup, grab a whiskey glass, grab just a little card. But as soon as they start combining them in super interesting ways, and it just comes from having the systems a little bit longer and being creative with them, I think you'll find a lot of really fun gameplay comes out of it.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. So next week, we will dig into the conclusion of the mission. We'll get into the design of the underground facility, the combat AI, and other elements that were at play.
Combat AI next week, guys.
Well, moving on to non-CitizenCon related
Let's remember that.
We now have item previews for Moby-Glass and shopping kiosks working.
Yes.
All right. Good.
Coming.
Big deal.
So
it's about damn time.
There's still
I
some
like it.
improvements to go in
yes.
lighting.
Yes.
But I think they'll be in
industry.
Awesome. And speaking of kiosks and shops,
I feel like a Dalek.
Some previs work on the branding options for splash screens. This will lend an appropriate amount of variety to the vast array of shopping experiences throughout.
Just put new skins on them.
Yes. And by the way, if you're
the items are most important.
Make sure your crime stat isn't too high, because I've heard those shopkeepers have a zero tolerance policy.
This actually happened to me.
To criminals, and they may be a little aggressive with the auto turrets, as you can see here.
Halloween is
set grading
just around
wasn't
the
so
corner,
good.
and we've got 2 different but equally chilling contests kicking off tomorrow to ring it in. A pumpkin carving contest on Twitter and a spectrum-based showdown that challenge you to foip your most terrifying or terrified face in game. Josh will love that.
Yeah, no, I think it will be, and I'm sure it'll be,
That's funny.
It'll be pretty brilliant. Both cases. So yeah, looking forward.
The foip is like something that okay. The foip is something that I said from the very beginning it was going to be fun. I said the foip's going to be kind of game changing in the fact that they took mocap to the user. They brought mocap to actually us, the gamers. So that's cool. Like, you know, like motion capture mocap is something that was only really used in studios with green screens like the one behind me, and people would actually film and do all the mocap and the CGI. Everything would be done there. Like I think that SIG taking mocap and literally putting it in everybody's house was really cool of them to do. I mean, like now we have the ability to have the mocap, and we actually have this foip technology. I think they're going to improve upon it. I think it's really sloppy right now, but it's there. The foundation is there, and I think they were going to build upon that, and I think that's going to be amazingly cool. And how many people did you see on my video talking about foip, and I said it was going to be a game changer? People were like, well, this isn't really necessarily a game changer. Look at all the people having fun with foip right now. Look at all the people coming around and having fun with foip. It's like I'm talking to a wall. I'm saying these things, right? People are like, no, you're wrong. You're an asshole. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about, DG. You don't know what you're talking about. And then boom, it happens. Everybody's having a blast. I see like Bowie songs and all these things. I'm going to make a musical with Christy with the foip once they put female characters in the game. And Christy and I are just going to have a blast with foip, and we're going to make a musical for everybody. Star Citizen the musical. Get ready for it.
Does it for us this week. Jared's back tomorrow with an all-new Reverse the Verse Live, following up on the new flight experience panel from CitizenCon. That panel is available to watch now on our YouTube channel.
Yes, and all of our panels continue to be released through the end of the month. So go check out whatever you may have missed, because that's some really great stuff. And people
a little bit more on the economy, guys. Like, it's a big deal. It's a hot topic right now. I'm surprised that the economic videos I have don't have a lot of attention compared to,
for us as developers to get to do this, so
you know, the other aspects of the game.
So it's great. A big thanks to the subscribers, speaking of.
What's up, Dean? It's good to see you, bro.
Yes, and of course,
good to see you, man.
We won't be able to do this without all of your support.
That's right.
Until next time, we will see you around the verse. Around the verse.
All right. So that was the Around the Verse review here. Thanks, guys, for showing up. I am going to talk a little bit before we leave here about what's going on with the economy and some people who are like the elitists of Star Citizen